The Labor Department this week submitting its initial text to the White House for how it plans to mandate the president's plan to require vaccinations for private sector businesses with more than 100 employees. Joining us now to discuss the tricky path for CEOs is Carlos Gutierrez, Empath co-founder and executive chairman. He's the former Commerce Secretary, former CEO of Kellogg, K-E-O-O, double good. And we also have Hubert Joly. He is senior lecturer at Harvard Business School and former Best Buy CEO. His new book, The Heart of Business, was published earlier this year. Hubert also sits on the board of Johnson & Johnson. Do you remember that ad campaign, Carlos? You probably did. That was a good one.
I do. Well, it was before my time, but I remember it.
Before your time, but not mine. Gentlemen, we all want to get to the same place, get as many people vaccinated as possible. 99.9 sounds good. But that's where we have to try to figure out how to do it with companies. And how not to do things that, I don't know, that actually push people to not want to do it just based on being mandated. It's like a carrot or stick approach. Some people don't like the stick. They'd rather do the carrot. And we'll talk specifics that we saw in the airline industry in a second. But, Carlos, do you understand what I'm saying by that? We want it done, but it's a fine line.
You know, I think there's a sense, and you can see this in when President Biden speaks, that the carrot hasn't really been that effective and that we have to do more. You know, it all depends on the business you're in. If you're serving clients in a restaurant or in an airlines, I just don't think you can get away with that you don't have a vaccine mandate. If you're working in an office, you can do things like, look, if you don't want to get vaccinated, then you can't come into the office. If you want to come in, you have to take a test. I think you can find some kind of a balance. But, you know, it's odd. This has become a political, a religious issue. I don't hear anyone complaining about not being able to smoke in an elevator or in a meeting room.
Right.
So I just think the protocols inside an office have to be the same as if you were outside. If you're not vaccinated, get a test, wear a mask, stay 6 feet away, you know, that sort of thing.
Right. Hey, so Hubert, do you agree?
Yeah, and I think that's obviously strongly in favor of strongly encouraging vaccination and mask, right, for three reasons. Why, you know, we need to take care of our employees, right, their safety, including the safety of our weakest employees, the most vulnerable, including maybe aging parents or unvaccinated kids. And then, as Carlos said, customers, you know, I fly regularly on Delta Airlines. I am pleased that their vaccination rate is well into the 90s. And then as businesses, I think we need to put our contribution to ending this pandemic. Now, you know, strongly encouraging is preferred, and companies have deployed a wide range of approaches, making it easy, providing PTOs, incentives. Delta has increased the health insurance premium, mandating daily tests. I think at the end of the day, if it doesn't work, the goal remains. And so if it doesn't work, I think mandates are a real option. And as Carlos said, there's many things that as businesses we already mandate, right? If you're at UPS, of course you mandate that your drivers have a driver's license. We all mandate that people take a drug test and pass it and so forth. And by the way, you know, companies and hospital systems in particular have been mandating vaccines for a long time. So the one thing I don't understand is why there's this fixation on this particular vaccine, because I think in Texas, the governor's executive order only pertains to this vaccine, which is really pretty odd. So yes, encourage and if necessary, mandate.
Okay, but you heard that, Carlos. It said strongly encourage, and then kind of if that doesn't work, then you get to the mandate. Here's what I was alluding to earlier. So United, it worked pretty well. Everybody's vaccinated. They did lose a couple of employees. But then you had Southwest, and Gary Kelly was on our air, who said he never wanted to mandate it, but the Biden administration did force his hand, and he just admitted that. And I don't know whether that had anything to do with all the turbulence at Southwest last week, but. And then you had Delta, and you mentioned Delta, Hubert. Ed Bastian was on saying he got the 98% just by more the carrot approach. So that's what I was saying, whether it can be counterproductive or not. You know, if you do have certain people that are going to just chafe at a mandate.
In
Yeah,
business,
and I think, look,
Joe, we are,
Carl.
in business,
Sorry, go ahead.
we're used to being focused on goals, right? So if the goal is 98%, let's figure out the way to do it. I agree with you. Mandate is a bit of a last resort, but I would not exclude it if it's the necessary approach, but as a last resort.